After 20 years, Bad Blood is returning to the WWE, and wrestling fans could not be more excited about the 5 matches featured on this year's card. Despite the fact that only 2 championships are up for grabs, all 5 matches stay true to the name of the PLE, with there being Bad Blood between the competitors. In this video, I'll be going over the history of each match, how we got to where we are in the present time, and who I think is going to win each match. For the first time in 3 months, I'm actually kind of stumped with some of these decisions, as in previous months I felt pretty confident with who I thought would win and was correct on nearly all of my guesses. This year's Bad Blood is a bit different because I could realistically see either side winning in pretty much every match booked, which makes it that much harder to predict. I'm going to do my best, but be sure to leave comments down below on who you think will walk out of Bad Blood as a winner this year. Without further ado, let's jump into the card. The first of 2 women's matches featured on this card is also the first of 2 championship matches, as Liv Morgan looks to defend her World Heavyweight Championship against Rhea Ripley in a rematch from their SummerSlam clash. When this match was announced, I felt like we could see 2 Hell in a Cell matches on the card, as this match could have greatly benefited from the stipulation, and I'll explain why. For weeks, Liv Morgan has played the role of cowardly heel quite well, avoiding confrontations when they least benefited her, but then found moments to get a sneak attack in and get the upper hand. In a Hell in a Cell environment, they could have played up the idea of having nowhere to run or hide, as they'd be locked up inside a cell. It was a story that practically wrote itself, but unfortunately we didn't get that. What we did get is a certain someone being locked up inside a cell, but that honor goes to Dirty Dominic Mysterio, who will be locked inside a shark cage, which will then be suspended above the ring during the match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. While this doesn't do anything to prevent the other members of the Judgment Day from interfering in the match, it does take out the one member that is most likely to play a part, so I guess there's that. On one hand, I get the direction that they're going by including Dom into the match and bringing more heat to him and Liv, but on the other, I kind of wish they would focus more on the 2 women competing for the title. I kind of wish the focus would be only on the 2 women competing for the title, and the Hell in a Cell stipulation could have given us that. Alas, we're now here, and many are wondering who walks out as the champion. Realistically, enough time has gone by since Rhea dropped the title that it wouldn't feel rushed or forced to put it back on her. Her run before the injury was one for the history books, as it felt like she was unstoppable, and holding her back from recapturing the championship could lose some of that shine on her name, at least for the more casual crowds. Then again, there is that sense that if Rhea wins, the feud is over, which I don't particularly buy into, but I do understand why some would feel that way. Keeping Liv as the champion, at least for now, could help reposition Rhea for another program to get back into the title picture, or even get into a feud with someone else. I know there is the belief that Raquel Rodriguez could interfere in this match, and if that's the case, I could definitely see Rhea and Raquel entering into a small program together. I'm really on the fence for this one because an argument can be made for both women to win, but I'm going to go with Liv Morgan to retain. I think the heat that she and Dom Mysterio have been gathering over the last month is something the WWE wants to capitalize on, and there's no better way than to keep the reign alive and have them walk out of the following Raw with those shit-eating grins that they've been having for the last couple of weeks. Rhea's terror twin Damian Priest is also set for one-on-one action as he takes on Finn Balor, a former friend that he held the tag team titles with on 2 occasions. This match has Bad Blood written all over it as Balor turned on Priest at SummerSlam, costing him the World Heavyweight Championship. Heading into this match, I'm all for the backstabber Balor persona, as you can see the reasoning for him to turn on Priest. After all, he did cost Balor the World Heavyweight title against Seth Rollins in the past, and the 2 had been butting heads quite often leading up to SummerSlam. It was only a matter of time before the turn happened, and when it did, it felt justified. Then again, you can also feel for Priest, who lost a brother, a family, and his World Heavyweight title all in one night. That kind of betrayal can set anyone off, so it's easy to sympathize for the person that faced the betrayal. For this reason, I'm loving this feud as it goes beyond the typical bad guy does bad things because he's bad, into a bad guy who has felt like he's been given the short end of the stick and finally snapping on the person that has been holding him back. The WWE has done a superb job with making Priest a fan favorite at the same time, and I was honestly quite surprised by how fluid the transition was. This match is probably the one I had the easiest time deciding on, simply because I believe one has more to gain from a victory than the other. As the new leader, not leader, of the new Judgment Day, Finn Balor kinda needs this win to further establish his rise to the upper card and a contender once the program between him and Priest is over. Yes, he is one of the tag team champions, and that's something I hope changes soon, as one title defense in nearly 3 months is kinda ridiculous. Balor has more to gain from a win, and way more to lose if he fails here. For that reason, I'm going with Finn Balor to go over, and hopefully it's the start of something greater for the Prince. The rubber match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk is set to take place inside Hell in a Cell, and as of this writing, the main event still hasn't been determined, though the previous 3 Bad Blood shows concluded with this type of match. I don't want to assume they'll do the same this year, but if the tradition is held, Punk and McIntyre will close out the show with what promises to be a bloody and violent match. If you go back into the history of CM Punk, you'll know he's one of the best blade artists in wrestling. The man has worn the Crimson Mask on several occasions, and you know he's just chomping at the bit to do it at Bad Blood with Drew. This feud will eventually come to an end, and both men will part ways and engage in a new program with others, but until then, we are being treated to some of the best storytelling in wrestling today, and it's been a treat to watch over the last couple of months. Drew won the first match with Seth Rollins serving as the special guest referee, and Punk picked up the win in their second encounter in a strap match, so this third clash between the two likely will be the one to decide who wins the feud before it comes to a conclusion. While we haven't seen too many altercations between the two since their last match, outside the bracelet breaking incident, the two have delivered solid promo work to build up the hype around this match, and dare I say it may be some of the best promo work both Punk and Drew have given. You know this match is going to be money just because they have such great chemistry and can tell a story in the ring while keeping it brutal, and the Hell in a Cell stipulation just gives them that extra element to bring all the chaos. I'm going with CM Punk to win this match and the feud, but I think you can make an argument for Drew to win as well. I think neither are really hurt by the loss, and both have just as much to gain from the victory, so we'll see where they go with the decision. I do believe that since this is Punk's first program since his return, it makes sense to have him go over and move on to the next thread in his way, but I won't be disappointed if I'm wrong here because in the end, both Drew and Punk will go on to do greater things outside this feud. And if I'm off base and this feud continues past Bad Blood, then we have another month of excellent television ahead of us, and I can't complain at all about that. The second championship match has Nia Jax defending her WWE Women's Championship against Bayley, the former champion she defeated to earn her first title reign. This match came to be from a tag team match that saw Bayley teaming with Naomi to take on Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, with the stipulation being that whoever earned the pin on Bayley and Naomi's team would receive a title shot at Bad Blood, but if the team of Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton won, the one to be pinned would have to leave SmackDown. Suffice to say, Bayley and Naomi did win, but they set up the finish to be a bit controversial as both Naomi and Bayley had Nia Jax pinned. Because of this, the following week we got a one-on-one match between Bayley and Naomi to determine the true number one contender, and Bayley picked up the win, earning the shot at Nia Jax. I would have liked to see the WWE pull the trigger on a Naomi win here, just because we've seen Bayley and Nia Jax already, and having Naomi challenge would give her the chance to shine on a PLE and elevate her to the next level that I'm fearing creative is hesitating on. Maybe this is a sign that the mid-card titles need to happen sooner rather than later, but since they don't exist right now, wrestlers like Naomi are often left in limbo, caught between not quite at the contender level, but too good to be doing jobs. Regardless, Bayley is the challenger and will be walking into Bad Blood with an opportunity of capturing her 5th championship. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be seeing a title change at this year's Bad Blood, at least not in this fashion. Nia Jax has been doing great things as the champion, and I don't think they're ready to pull the plug on that just yet. Yes, she hasn't been wrestling much, but the promo work in the ring and backstage have been some of the better parts of SmackDown. Where things get a little interesting is with a potential Tiffany Stratton cash-in, whether it's during or after the match. They're certainly teasing this idea, especially with last week's SmackDown having an interaction with Nia Jax and Stratton that left the Money in the Bank holder looking none too pleased. Perhaps at Bad Blood it will be Tiffy time, and Stratton cashes in to capture her first world title on the main roster. I'm curious to know if you think we'll see a cash-in, so let me know in the comments down below. On to the final match of the evening. Whether it's the main event or not is to be determined. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns will team up to take on Bloodline members Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu in tag team action. The return of the original Tribal Chief paired with the man that took him down at WrestleMania 40 taking on the team of the new Tribal Chief and the debut of the big man Jacob Fatu. Just the build-up and match card graphic alone is enough to get you excited for this match. We haven't seen Roman in action since WrestleMania 40, making this a monumental in-ring return. Factoring in that he's teaming with someone that isn't exactly an ally in order to take down the new bloodline that installed itself in his absence, and you have all the makings of a great story inside the ring. In some sense, I am just a little bit disappointed we haven't seen the return of Jimmy Uso, who I thought would have made a great fit as Roman's partner for this match, but there's a lot more drama to be sold with the team up of Roman and Cody. Perhaps Jimmy does come back later on and we get a reunion of the Usos with Roman and maybe even Sami Zayn to take on the new bloodline at Survivor Series. But for now, we have an Avengers Assemble moment featuring the WWE Undisputed Champion and Roman Reigns. When it comes to deciding who I think will win this match, a few things come into play. Booking the loss of Jacob Fatu on his first PLE match is just as difficult as booking Roman Reigns to lose on his return. Therefore, you have two options. One, have Cody Rhodes, your WWE Undisputed Champion, eat the pin and help set up something for the future, whether it's Jacob Fatu versus Cody or another round of Solo Sikoa challenging for the title. Option number two is to have Solo Sikoa eat the pin and give Roman and Cody the victory. I'm tempted to lean towards the latter and go with Roman and Cody, just because I think you can keep Jacob Fatu strong by not being pinned despite being on the losing end, and you can further enhance the power struggle between Roman and the new bloodline. For that reason, I'm taking Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes to stand victorious at Bad Blood, and whether they stand tall together or one of them ends up flat on their back is another story. Alright, that's it for this one. Let me know down in the comments below how excited you are for Bad Blood this year. As someone who was almost 10 years old for the first ever Bad Blood, nearly 30 years later, I'm just as excited to see what unfolds at this year's event. Once again, be sure to click the like button on this video if you liked it, hit the subscribe button if you really like this style of content, and while you're at it, check off that bell notification to get alerts on all future videos. Remember to always be kind to one another and stay safe.